Hello, everybody, and hi, everybody. Hi, AO. How is your world? Hopefully, it's going well, and you've had a productive month. Back at it again. This is Greg D'Amico, and I have a company called Efficients. I have been doing these mentor sessions for quite a few years now, so I would assume a lot of you know me. But for the new people, let me give you just a quick overview about my background, so it gives you context and how I would answer questions and where I'm coming from. So, I currently have a software company, and we do mobile app and e-commerce development, custom e-commerce development and mobile app development. And that somebody comes to us that has an idea or has their business needs a mobile app to either communicate with their customers, to help their sales reps, to those type of things. We build that a particular app for them that gives them all the features and details that they want. In addition to that, or previous to that, actually, I finance degree, went to I was based out of Knoxville. I went to University of Tennessee, and after that, I had found a partner, and we started doing financial planning together. That at the time, because I had come from in college, I had an internship with an insurance company and learned about the process of estate and insurance type planning for people that evolved into investments and so forth. And we ended up growing that to be a money management firm in the early 90s. And then in 95, I had this idea in 93 to start a mutual fund and got that opened up in 95. And we started grassroots and grew that out to $1 billion in assets at the top of the market in 2000. We were the number one growth and income fund in the country for 3 and 5 years, and just had a very nice rocket type ride. But then it came back down again, and the calamities of the early 2000s with 9/11, Enron, WorldCom scandal. If those of you are old enough to remember that. And so I ended up selling off the firm, but in the process, before I sold it, I saw the future being connectivity through software, and I went to India in 2004. I set up my own office there, and with that, I have been doing software development ever since then. So let's get into that. Gives you a little bit of feel and background of where I'm coming from. Here's the questions for this month. Okay, first question is from Robin. Robin asks, what questions would you ask a shop owner that may want to sell my art? Thank you. Business description and background question. I have a meeting with a golf pro who is going to take me around the course so I can take photographs for future paintings. I'm hoping that he would sell the golf scenes in their pro shop, give them as gifts or awards for members. Okay, Robin, this is, I think you're onto something here. I think this is an attractive opportunity for you. I'll go into that a little bit more in a second, but are you talking to the decision owner? So you said the golf pro. Is the golf pro the guy who owns the golf shop or the golf course or so forth? So the golf pro could do this on his own because he could have his own business, but does he have the decision making ability to put these up in the golf shop, the pictures and so forth? So I would start by asking them some probing, layering type questions. Okay, see what type of value that they are wanting to provide their customers, and from there you can get into figuring out what their members are wanting, what they're trying to accomplish as the value that they're providing, which would lead to trying to satisfy that value with aspects of the services they provide. And as you get more into that and layer into that a little bit deeper, you're going to find some areas that you can meet with this. A lot of golfers, my son is a big time golfer. I live on a golf course. I don't play a lot. My son was a member of mine. Now he joined the most prestigious golf course in Knoxville, Tennessee, and they're passionate about it. He goes on these trips with a bunch of guys, and they go to these great courses up in New Jersey, up in North Carolina, just all over down in Florida. So they Probably the thing I would say about this and golfers in general is that they're very passionate about it, and it creates a lot of emotion. When you have a place where you're getting into people's emotion, like seeing themselves in the feeling they get when they're out on the golf course, the pictures that you could provide and relate and connect that emotion that they have when they're on the golf course is powerful and a motivator for people to buy. So I think you're in the right spot for all those reasons. And what I would do is I'd have to dig in and to start with, and you can come back to me with more information here. But I would start by asking them where they see the value is and what they're providing, and what their customers are seeing out of how they feel about what their customers' perceived value is on coming to this golf course. And with that, you can help to build your connection to those emotions that are elicited when people are playing golf, when they're in that environment. I mean, I lived in a nice subdivision with a golf course. I still have the house there. I'm not there as much in Tennessee, and most of the time in Fort Lauderdale. But when you drive around my neighborhood on the streets, it's a completely different feel than when you're on the golf course, which is on the backside of a house or something like that. And that feeling and experience out there is like, I feel like I'm in a whole new world. And in that world, there's a lot of peace and serenity that comes with it. So just being out on the golf course creates that. But it's also the competitive aspect of people being out there and playing and wanting to be their best, playing against themselves and trying to better their score, and playing against others. So there's a lot that you can bring with your work. You bring that emotion into what people have when they're doing that. You're going to get the ability to connect emotionally, which is the biggest driver of sales out there. Connect to people's emotions. You talk about the features and the facts of what you offer, but the biggest connection is when you tap into those emotions. So I would consider all that in trying to build that relationship and create value for them when you find out what type of value that they're looking for. Hope that helps, Robin. Next question. Josh asks, what is the fastest, easiest thing I can do to grow my business from the stage I am in today? Business description and background question. Instaffy, I think, INSTIFFY, started in August and is currently projected to do less than 10,000 in annual sales. We currently only have John and myself on our team, and we both have full-time jobs. So we only have time right now on nights and weekends for the business. My current way of driving new business revenue is finding good product deals and ensuring the product has less than 100,000 90-day best-selling rank on Amazon. In 2023, I would like to grow the business to greater than 1 million in sales. To accomplish that, what are some immediate things you would recommend to do in order to reach that goal? I specifically love to know your thoughts of how I should transition to quitting my full-time job and going all in on this business to reach this goal. How do I know when that time is right? Okay. Well, there's a lot of what ifs and a lot of questions that should be answered here to help really dig into this, but I'll do what I can, Josh. So first of all, looking at it, I would look at taking it in steps, okay? And then looking at the data that you have around you. Is John your business partner? You didn't say that. So you said that we currently only have John and myself on our team. So he's on your team. Is he a partner, or is he a hire that you have that you're paying him? So as you move forward and you're trying to drive sales, I would figure out the minimal amount of money that I could live off of. I'm factoring in, what your spouse makes if you're married, or if you have a partner, or whatever your situation is. Maybe you and John are renting a place together, so you don't have a lot of cost or so forth. Whatever the case may be, you got to look at your situation, and you got to look at, if I sacrifice for a little bit, what's the minimum amount that I can live off of and allow me to put my best effort into growing this company. Since you're already making sales, that's the first thing in the marketplace, is to see if something you're doing is going to create activity and create value for others that's going to lead to something. And it looks like you're leading to something here, which means that you have the potential to take it to $1 million. But it takes energy, effort, and pushing on that flywheel that I've talked about before from the book Good to Great, which I think is one of the best business books written over the past 30 years. And is a staple for all business owners. So if you haven't read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, please check it out, because it gives you insight to running a business that is hard to come by. So what else would you do here? I would looking at your income. I said, what's the minimum amount that you would take? Okay, with that and how you're looking at your situation. From there, you can start planning out the steps it's going to take for you to leave and jump into business. Because I'll tell you this for sure, is that you really will have a lot of challenging aspects. You can do it, but it's going to be very challenging. That if you're not focused on this full time and pushing on that flywheel, you are not going to get to the levels that you want to go. So figuring out how to get there and looking at all your details, looking at your situation and the details about your situation, and saying that what's the minimum, when I get my business to this level, and if it pays me $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month or $1,000 a month, if you've got a good situation with a spouse or somebody that can help cover some of your expenses, then you know that you can at least get by while you fully jump in and focus on this situation. So you have to start growing this incrementally like you're doing, and keep putting an effort into it and slog through it a little bit until you can make that leap. But once you make that leap, that's when the big dollars are going to come. And the longer you put that off, the longer it's going to take for you to reach some of your goals. So it's not impossible getting to your $1 million goal if you're not full-time, but I'd say it's going to be a lot more challenging and a lot more time to get there. So that's all I have on that, Josh. Hope that helps. Okay. Randy asked, do you recommend postcard mailings as part of your ad campaign? Business description and background question. I own a bowling center and do email, Facebook, and in-house advertising. Not every household uses social media, and I would like to promote specials, coupons, the website, and build my email list. Would you recommend using every door direct mail and target certain routes and neighborhoods? Would you recommend using every door direct mail? I don't know if that was written right there, Randy, but I'm not sure what you're saying there, but basically the assumption is that you are trying to direct your target marketing into particular neighborhoods and so forth using postcards. So we're going to go with that. So I would ask you, Randy, what is the purpose of your mailer? Okay. When you're putting that mailer out there, are you wanting to, what's your goal and you're trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get emails? Are you just trying to offer some type of discount or promotion for them? So I would go back and look at your plan of how you're growing your business and look at it in steps. Okay, a step to create a funnel, or a step to reach out to the public. But if your goal is to build a email list, which is ideal, okay, the more emails you can collect, the more your business is going to be able to do money in a cost-effective way. So the purpose of reaching out to get emails, I would look at it kind of like this. If you're going to send a postcard needs to have that goal of what you're trying to accomplish. Not just send a card out to say, hey, send me, hey, come to my bowling alley and bowl a free round. I would look at it and say, go to this site and provide a web link that would probably be a funnel. Funnels are like websites, but they're like single pages. And so there's a company out there called ClickFunnels, and Russell Brunson is the founder along with his partner that have built this company up into a major conglomerate, and it's the future of marketing online. And so, and I would also look at getting his book, .com Secrets, okay? Because once you have his path and understanding of how he talks about growing small businesses, chiropractic offices, dentist offices, other service-related businesses, and all businesses can use this approach to get there, and he talks about the value ladder, about what stage of your offering that you're providing that you're trying to get people to come into and help work them up the value ladder. The higher you up the value ladder, that means you're providing more service, more value at a higher price. Okay, so check that out. Look at what he's doing in his book, and then ask yourself, like, what is the goal that I'm trying to do? What is the point I'm trying to get done? If it is email, then sending postcards, I think, are great. They're cost effective. They're small. They're a little different. You don't have to open them up, and they get people's attention. And I would say to them on that postcard, go to this site and sign your email in to receive a free game for every game you buy, and so forth. Something, whatever promotion you would like to provide them, or free shoes or free something, and that way you're getting their email off of this one expense that you're making, so that every time all the emails you collect are going to mean a revenue number to you as you send out each email you send out. And it's usually like 1%. If you have 10,000 people on there, you can make $1,000. If you've got 50,000, so forth to 100,000, every time you send an email, you're going to bring in so much revenue. So you got to want to grow your email list, and you want to focus on a process that's going to take you down that path. Okay, and so that's how I approach this. But looking at it specifically, I would read the book first, and I would determine from your perspective of where you're coming from with a bowling alley, how those particular steps that he suggests will get you down, taking you down a path to get customers into you, coming to store. Now, if you do that postcard and you do just a one-off with it, it is not going to provide the long-term value, and then you're spending more money than you need to build the business. Or, and say it differently, is every dollar you're spending, the return on that dollar is going to be a lot smaller than it would be if you follow this path of having a process that the money you spend to collect names and email addresses is going to mean a future growth of your future income. So think about it like that, and go see what you can do, and look forward to any questions you have coming up about this. Thanks, Randy. Okay, next question. Kristen asks, what is the fastest, easiest thing I could do to grow my business from the stage I am in today? Business description and background question. I am a wholesaler in the retail industry, selling golf apparel. I am in my first year of business, launching in the month of October, this past October it looks like. I am currently at 16,000 in gross sales. My biggest holdback is driving new business is my lack of cash flow to purchase products to sell. I currently am using credit cards. My total credit limit right now is around 10,000. Next year, I would like to grow my business to at least 100 to 500,000 in gross sales. I would really like to go after bigger retail fish such as department stores, but I am not sure how to secure a large order without cash to back it up. I am limiting myself to my credit limit. What are some immediate things you would recommend I do in order to reach my goals? Okay, Kristen. So I have looked at this in situations in the past, and actually helped out my cousins with a particular situation like this. So what I would do is this. I look at building your credit, okay? Are you able to pay off every time you make these sales? Do you pay off this credit card? Okay, so the business you put money on a credit card, you buy supplies and goods to resell, and when you do that, you're going to get a markup on it, and with that, you're getting cash flow in. Are you able to pay off that credit card, all of it, or are you still accumulating debt as you sell? So that's a big key here to making sure that the money you're putting out or the money you're borrowing you're able to pay it back. So it's like a cycle. The more I borrow, the more money I'm making, but I can pay that back, and I can have more left over the higher up you go on this progression of higher credit limit. So if you're paying off the credit card, then you're building a history with the company that you're a good customer, and you can ask them for an increase in your credit limit. Okay, you go to them and ask them for that. Also, I would assume I get inundated with credit card offers all the time. and I have good credit. Very important to me to have good credit. I actually told my son way back when he was starting out in his career that you do whatever you do, you never miss a minimum payment on your credit card. Okay? Never miss a minimum payment on your credit card. And I told him that if you have to eat peanut butter and jelly or bologna sandwiches or whatever it may be so that you have enough money to make that minimum payment, you sacrifice to make sure you make that minimum payment, because credit is, in this world that we live in, this capitalistic world we live in, credit is a driver to growth and opportunity to have the things that you want to have and to grow your business the way you want to grow it. It's very important. So keeping that in mind, okay. So then, what else could you do? The credit cards that you get, offers you get, if you're getting them, I would seek out trying to get some of them, trying to get some new credit card limits on top of what you already have. And if you're able to do that, you can start, taking that step. You're at the 10,000 credit limit. You can buy 10,000 worth of goods. Maybe you can get another credit card. It's another 10,000. You can buy $20,000 worth of goods. Okay, so as you continue to progress down that path and you continue to build that credit, you're going to have the ability to continue to do more. But of course, it's going to take a little bit longer. So what happens if you want to speed that up a little bit? I would look at this opportunity. This is what I did for my cousins. They were trying to grow a business they called Me and Mommy to Be, about providing clothing for expectant mothers, and and mothers that had just had a baby, and the change in clothes that they need to go through that adjustment in their body. And so what I did was I put money in a bank account for them that they could thus have a credit card to borrow against. Okay, so I would go to some of your friends and family or somebody who trusts you and say, hey, I want to offer you an opportunity to make more on your money. Do you have money sitting in the bank somewhere? Yeah, I've got some money in a bank. Okay, well, let's put this money in a bank account that you're going to collect the interest on of the account, which is, as we all know, has been very nominal, but it's going up a little bit. And I'm going to pay you an additional amount on that amount you give me. So say they put 10,000 into a bank account, and you have to talk to the bank about this, but you could either be joint account for both your names on it or their name. I don't know if the bank will lend you the money with only their name on it, but you look at that, talk to the bank about it, and then they will give you a credit card relative to that amount. And when you get that money, or when you have that additional line of credit, you can go buy your goods, you can make more money, and so forth. You can show them what you're doing and how you're doing it. But say you offer them, okay, say they're getting 4% in their bank account. So would you like to make 10% on your money? And they're like, well, yeah, how do I do that? Very, very low risk, you would say. And then you would go back and say, okay, well, we're gonna put this money in a bank account. I'm going to get access to credit. I'm going to be able to go out and buy these products. I'm going to be able to sell them in the space, and I'm going to pay down this credit card as we go. So, and that's going to give you time that as you continue to build up your credit, you're going to be able to have that credit line and not have to have that cash there. Okay, so this is something you do if your credit's not great, and if you want to speed up the process, this can accelerate. I mean, if somebody gives you 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, and does this, then you can show them, or you can do it in stages. Hey, you can start out with 5,000 or 10,000 now, and then we can maybe go up a little bit. And as you have history with them, paying them not only the money they're getting in their bank account, but you're paying them an additional amount. Okay, and you look at that number. You say, like, if you got $10,000 a month and you're giving somebody 10% return, that's $1,000. Or no, I'm sorry. If they give you 10,000 and you give them a 10% return, that's $1,000. So you're paying interest to them of around $83 a month. Okay, look at your profit margins and so forth to see how much money you can have that you're going to profit from after you pay this interest expenses that you're going to pay to your friend lender, your family lender, and move this forward. Okay, so I think this is a good opportunity for you to grow this. There's other ideas and thoughts out there, but I think this is probably easy and simple one for you to go implement and maximize your situation from a time standpoint. Okay, you can do this on your own, build the credit, pay it off. Try to get some new credit lines with the cards people are offering you. And as long as you've got a good history of paying bills, it's going to happen. If you don't, then it's more challenging. And what you do are options like this, okay? Where if they don't have credit line, you can put money in the account. If you have some capital to put in to build more credit, that's a way for you to do that too. As you make money, you can put some into an account that the bank will loan against. Remember, this is collateral, so you don't have access to it unless the credit card that it's collateralizing is paid down, and then you can get the money back out. Okay, so hope that helps. Our next and last question is from Rosalie, and it looks like question asks, what is the best approach to use during a presentation of my services and the prospects? Okay, sorry, let's back up and do this again. Question, what is the best approach to use during a presentation of my services and the prospects have a disagreement with each other? Should I intervene? Business description and background of question. I own a full-service accounting firm, and we help small business owners with the accounting needs. I did a presentation, and the prospects were not in agreement of how they would want to move forward. I would like to be better prepared in the future for this situation. Okay, so thank you. I'm trying to, in thinking about this, there's a lot of ways to approach it, but the way I would focus on it and go about it from my experience is with try to get them aligned. Okay, and how would you do that? Like if they're off, if you're presenting something and they're thinking, well, no, we should do it this way, and the other partner's saying we do it this way, and so forth, then good point to say, so hey, team, or hey, company, whoever's in the meeting, like what is it you guys are trying to accomplish? Okay, where are you going with this business? And get them talking about something that they probably have had ideas about and where they want to take it. Ask them what their BHAG is. Their BHAG is big, hairy, audacious goal, which comes from the terminology of good to great. Now, it's not like they have to have had read the book, but in the mindset, when you read the book, you're going to have an understanding of what a big, hairy, audacious goal does and accomplishes for a company. So you can provide counsel to them in regards to this if they don't have one. But you can say, hey, what are your goals? What are your goals? Big, hairy, audacious, let me back up and say big, hairy, audacious goal is a goal that you're going to accomplish over the next 10 to 20 years. Okay? It's like John F. Kennedy said in the early 60s, 61 or something, that we're going to put a man on the moon by the end of this decade. So they had 10 years or a little less than 10 years to go and work to put a man on the moon. And that aligned everybody around a core purpose point that they're trying to get to, and it drove everybody to go in this direction of figuring it out, and they accomplished it. They landed on the moon in '69. So what else? Whatever things that you can do to align them and get them talking about their respective business. And so, hey, what are your customers? What's the value you're providing them? Back them up a little bit from that discussion you're having if they get out of whack, and ask them these things that alignment. Get them talking about commonalities that they both are in agreement on, and then I would open up to answering the questions or providing them some insight based on what you're trying to go, where you're trying to go with them. Okay, so you said they had disagreement on something. Well, you're making a presentation about your accounting firm and what you're doing, and that's opening questions up about their business. So try to help them through this process. You will be providing them a lot of value when you do, and they will see you as not only somebody that can do accounting for them, but can be a consultant to help them with their business overall. And so that is let's see if there's anything else. And I think that's, gives you a good approach to start with. And so once you ask the questions, then I just zero in on taking them down a path where you want to go. Okay, you're ultimately wanting to go. You want to get this, you want to work for them, you want to get your business aligned to help them. Then, given everything I just said, you probably can pull these answers, help them with the answers to the questions you're giving them that's causing them disalignment when you ask them those other questions to give them a basis of the business that help takes you. Well, to accomplish this goal, then you're going to need to want to have this type of accounting process in place. And when you do that, it's going to align your team. It's going to give you more insight. You're going to be able to look at your numbers on a regular basis, pull out the metrics of your business and so forth, and take them in a place where they see the benefit of it and they see the opportunity that they're going to have more knowledge. It's going to be simplified for them and so forth. Those things that you're providing, and with that bigger overall picture, it's going to be filtered down into these core areas that's going to help you get the business that you're trying to get. Okay, so give that a try and look forward to any feedback that you have going forward. So that was my questions, I guess, because I usually am later in the month, but being a little earlier, I got a few less questions. But anyway, all the best, upwards and onwards to making big things happen and to having a great month. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody also, and we'll see you next month in December. Take care.